We are going to work more on our little fall pumpkin project today. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Let's work on some of the greenery today. So we're going to be using this color. It is EZM 1008, and I think it's called Pines or something like that, which was interesting to me because I don't think of it, it's called dark pine or something. I don't think of it as that dark, but I love the variation of colors that it has in it. Let's find a needle that will work. Okay, we are going to start down here at the bottom. If you've been following along with the last project, you'll realize that it has a line that goes, the stem stitch goes all the way along the bottom. I was confused by my sketch. I had to go back and look at it. I was confused by my plan because my plan had the line there and I went, did I do that wrong? I couldn't remember, so I had to go back and look at my sketch. Okay, we are going to start right here on this end. These little dots here are like little berries, and they just need a little pathway to the stick. So they just need a little, there we go, just a little green pathway to the stick. Same thing for this one. Now I could do this as a fly stitch, but if I did, I would have the green on top, and I don't want the green on top. So I'm going to do this as an arrowhead stitch, which just means that you do one side and then the other. Well, we are in the dark part of our colors right now, which doesn't really matter. Okay, then right here, when we get to our pumpkin, a little bit before our pumpkin, we are going to whip this section of the stick. Oh, it's a little difficult right here to tell where I'm supposed to be whipping because I started and stopped that part, but if you're following the instructions, yours will have clear stitches all the way along, so it won't be complicated. But we're just trying to add an extra little bit of greenery to our stick here. In the middle. Oop. Then once we get out here on the other side, let's see, we went a little bit out, so probably one more stitch there. Then we'll go back to arrow stitches, giving us access to these little guys. Now, oh, I probably should have, that's okay, we'll get back to it. This first one on the top on each side is going to be a berry that's not quite ripe enough yet, and so it needs just a green French knot right here. Now, I do not have the right needle for a French knot. However, since there's only one, I'm going to wing it and make it work. There we go. Okay, and then this one needs its little branch back, and we'll come back with burgundy, and the other berries will be burgundy. And then just a tiny little line at the very end. Might not even be noticeable in the end. It's hard to tell that I have one on that end. Okay, we need to head back to the middle. I'm going to do this one in the very middle so that I can keep them centered. I'm going to come back here to the middle, and we're just going to do tiny little, oops, if we don't tie off our knot, it won't work. We're going to come up in the middle here. We're going to do this like a tiny little bed of leaves. So we don't want long ones, we just want tiny little leaves. So the center one will go straight down, and then next to it, I'm going to work my way back to the right. They don't need to be super touching, like they can be a little bit of gap, but we do want them to be frequent. And we just need them under the pumpkin part. Here it goes, getting lighter. So below the stick, I'm going the equivalent of about one of the little squares in the background. Now let's see what looks right as far as how far to keep doing this. I think we might keep going a little bit. It might need to be bigger than the pumpkin. Let's see. Oh, we're getting out there. Let's try one more. I think I'm going to do one more than that. Don't want too many, but I want to be able to have the top side also. So now let's come back to here, and we'll probably just need one on this top side to fill in the gap between the stick and the pumpkin. Right there. There. Now, remember that I said that the first one on the top side of these is a berry that's not ripe, so it needs to be green with a French knot. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Back down where we came out, snug up our berry wrap. There we go. Now, obviously, I could take this thread. In fact, that's what I think I will do. I was going to consider something smaller because I'm not sure it has enough length on my thread here. Detached chain stitches or lazy daisy stitches are a stitch that requires 3 lengths, basically 4. Down, back, down to the tacking, and back from the tacking. So however long your thread is, you're only going to be able to do detached chain stitches for 1/4 of that length. So that's what I was thinking, is I probably won't have enough thread here to finish this. Maybe I should do something close by over here, but I'm not ready to start on something new yet. So we'll go ahead and keep doing the detached chain stitches across the bottom here under the pumpkin. Just kind of gives that pumpkin a base to sit on. Gives it a grounding. Okay, we keep going. It looks like the last ones are getting close to those branches, so let's keep going. Maybe I do have enough thread to finish this part. Let's do, I think we're going to need 2 more. 1. Come on. 2. Where does that put us? Let's look side to side. I think that's good. And then we need the one on the top. There we go. Okay, that gave us our greenery along the base. Now let's try going up the sides of the pumpkin. Now, the goal with the greenery on the leaves is just to add some character to them. They're solid, so we'll be going around them and then we'll add some character to them. So let's go ahead. The adding veins and leaves to them gives them character, so I'm going to go ahead and do a fly stitch down this leaf, and then we'll go around it. Okay, so start at the point, come down a ways, it doesn't matter. These fly stitches can be as close or as far apart as you want them to be. I caught my needle pulling it out, or I just grabbed the thread, I'm not sure. Okay, let's go ahead and do a fly stitch, come out at the base of the last center stitch that we did. And give us another tail. Let's go ahead and do the next fly. Come out in the middle. This is what I meant when I said we will be putting stitches on these, so I won't have to worry about them coming off. If we were not going to put stitches on them, they would need to be appliqued in place. But these stitches will hold them. A little bit further, there we go. I could go to the end, yeah, I'm just going to go to the end of the leaf. Now we are ready to go around it, and I'm going to use a back stitch to go around it. So I'm going to go ahead and get myself positioned to do that back stitch. There we go. Remember, you start a stitch ahead of the line, go back to the beginning, head of the line, back to the last stitch. Why am I choosing a back stitch instead of a stem stitch on this? I'm not as worried about the outline on these leaves because they're filled in solid. I just need something that finishes them off. And a back stitch is one of the thinnest, least invasive stitches, I suppose, that you can do because it's only one thread thick. It doesn't look like it right there, huh? It doesn't look that. Yeah, it's only one thread thick. And so that will make it as minimal as I can get. The only thing less than that is a running stitch, which equals kind of like a half stitch, but it's one and then a gap, and I don't want that kind of gap in it. Let's pull that one snug. Let's go back this side. Yeah, that's going to be plenty of emphasis on the outside edge of the leaf. All right, now we are ready for the next leaf. So the question is that far a reasonable distance to jump? For the project we're using it on, I think so. Oh, but we need to start up here. No, we'll just jump and do the back stitch first on this one. Otherwise, we'd need to go to the tip. My tail is getting too long. I backstitch best going right to left. So that's why I turn it upside down. I'm trying to keep those stitches small so they are less. You don't want a big dark line of one big stitch, so let's keep them little. Oh, we got a knot in there. There's a way that your thread curls around itself that will create little knots in your thread like that. If you pull the direction that you're going, it will tighten the knot more. You have to pull the opposite direction. So if I had a knot like right here. Let's make one. If I had a knot right here as I was pulling it through, if I pull, this is the direction I'm going, so if I pull on this end, it will make it tighter. If I pull on this end, it will pull it right out. And I don't know how our thread makes that little knot. I just know that it's true. If you pull the right direction, you'll be able to just pop it right out. But that's not the way of continuing to stitch. So if you continue to stitch, it's going to make a knot that gets tight enough you can't get it out, and you have to start and stop again. Stop and start again. Okay. This is one of our bigger leaves, so it's going to get a fly stitch on it. So let's go up here and give us our first center pre-fly. Now we'll go ahead and do the fly. I always think that that stitch looks long until I'm getting ready to do the fly, and then I'm like, oh wow, we should have done that a little bit longer. Because I want those stitches to be slanted, which means I can only go halfway between the top and the bottom here, or closer to the top. Do we want to do one more? I think we can do one more. This is an example of, is it perfect? Am I dividing this section, the leaf, into 4 sections, so I make sure that they're all evenly spaced? And the short answer is nope. We're just doing it as it goes. Okay. Let's go ahead and add a little berry right here. Again, not a ripe one. So 1, 2, 3. We'll put our French knot down right there. And let's just add a quick 1 stitch. We're not going to double that one. We're just going to add 1 line out to that one. Do we want anything right in here? We might. We'll decide that later. Okay. This one, I just want the stitch to go down the middle of this one because it's smaller. So we're just going to cover over top of it here, and then we're going to do a back stitch around it. We just happen to be on the dark part of the thread, so that line down the middle really shows up good. I think I do want to put another little berry twig in the space right here. But I'm not sure my needle, not sure my thread's long enough to do that. Nope, it looks like we would be safe to end our thread right here. And we'll get a new one. See if we can finish up the greenery on at least this side of the pumpkin. Okay, technically a single stitch with a French knot on the end is a pistol stitch. So I started that one wrong to be able to do a pistol stitch, but this time I could. Let's start right here. Our knot is pulling through. Okay, let's make a slightly bigger knot to stay on the back. Okay, there we go. Okay. Then remember that to do a French knot, we want to pull the thread towards us and wrap it 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to put this finger on to hold those guys from disappearing. Go down where we want, then pull snug our wraps. Remember? Okay, hold the needle tall. There we go. Snug our wraps and pull it through. There we go. That'll give us our little berry, our little raw berry stitch, and it's kind of a bit to jump to where our next greenery is, so I'm going to go ahead and tie it off. Okay, the next thing we have is the leaves that go up on, pull this guy over. We have leaves that go up here. This spot is part of the cotton balls that go here because it's brown, I can tell that. So we're just going to go ahead and add these leaves. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think we're going to go ahead and do them as detached chain stitches, but with the point out. So we'll start out here and come back towards the branch. That'll leave my wider part in like this, which will just make them look a little bit more like leaves. And then we're going to add a straight stitch down the middle of them to fill them in just a little bit. Okay, we got that one. Let's do this one. Go back down at the point, come out at the base next to our twig. If it's big enough, and this one looks to be big enough, we're going to go ahead and do, it's called, well, 3 of them, I call it a double detached chain stitch. 3 of them is called a berry stitch. When you do 3 detached chain stitches inside of each other, and we're only doing 2 here. But the second one will fill in a lot of the space, and then we may, if it doesn't bring it together as much as you'd like, you can still do another straight stitch down the middle. Show you. There we go. Now let's do this one. Okay. This one's also kind of big, so we're going to go ahead and double detach chain stitch it. It's very important if you want it to be a point that you go down where you came out for these detached chain stitches, otherwise they don't have that point on the top. And remember, when I marked these, in order to not get confused, I only marked the outside half of them, so that I wouldn't have too many marks down my, so I wouldn't confuse where my stick was supposed to be. Okay. I think that one does not need its spot down the middle, and this one out here is a long way away from our branch. I think because it's that far away from our branch, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll give it a little stem that will make it stick so I don't have this huge leaf way up here randomly at the top. So I'm going to go ahead with that tack down and give it a little stem that attaches it to our branch. Let's give it its other detached chain stitch in the center. And then see if that one pulls tight enough to cover the gap. Nope, let's go ahead and add 1 stitch down the middle of that one. I'm trying to make sure that I come up in between and not through any threads, because anytime that you're going through threads, it's going to give you fits. Okay. Lovely. Okay, we don't have any leaves over here on these middle guys. Our next leaves are just up this side. So let's go ahead and tie off. Go move over there because we don't have leaves on the cotton branches in the middle. All right, let's go ahead and do these guys the same way we did the others. Let's start with our veins, and we'll do those with fly stitches. Ooh, I have hooked my leaf, and I don't want my thread to accidentally pull my leaf off my project. I don't know if it could. I don't know how well that, well, it wouldn't because I have a stitch down, but I don't want that mess. So, okay, 1, 2. It really looks like 3 is a good amount for these leaves. Make it a little bit longer so that 3 fits. And then we will back stitch around this guy. I'm so enjoying working on this little one. Sometimes I like working on projects that take a long time, and I like just seeing the progress that's made on them. Other times I kind of want to finish. I want something that I can finish. I need that dopamine hit from finishing a project. So this is one of those where I'm going, hey, look, this one we can finish in a couple of hours, definitely in one day. And well, if we were stitching all day long. And how fun that is to get that cute little dopamine hit. Okay. Okay, now that we've been all the way around, is that leaf close enough or does it need a stem? I think it's close enough. We'll jump up here and go around this guy. He's a little bit shorter because remember I trimmed him, but I still think we'll do the fly stitches on him. I don't know if we're going to have enough thread to make his fly stitches or if we're going to have to come back for that. There we go. So we need to focus on our flowers and our pumpkin stem. And then I said last we would do the, okay, let's tie, we can try. Last we'll do the cotton balls. So am I the only one who uses up a thread like this? I'm gonna have enough room for one fly stitch here. Let's go ahead and give it a tail. Down to right there. There we go. You notice that I take it off the needle to tie the knot. I don't always do that, but if it's close, I find it easiest to not worry about having to tuck the knot and just do it with my fingers. Okay, let's get us another length of this thread. Okay, what leaves do we have next? We need to finish that little one. I think on this side there are not as many. Yep, that's true. Let's go ahead and finish up the fly on this one. Let's do our third fly. See, one of the advantages, I am not a huge fan of variegated threads. Well, that's not exactly true. I'm not a huge fan of big variegations in threads. I love variegated threads that are like tone on tone, so that you get a little bit of variation in it, but not where it makes you go, whoa. Like if they have, I struggle with things that are like green and orange together, because if I'm doing leaves, some of my leaves are orange unless I'm working fall or something. Okay, let's do, while we're working our way over there, let's go ahead and do another one of our pistol stitches right here. Okay, remember pistols, or French knots and pistol stitches are two hand stitches, so let's put our thread on 1, 2, 3. Pull it towards you, perpendicular over the top. 1, 2, 3. Hang on to those. If you hold it here, you don't have to put your finger on top, and we want that to come out to about right there. Then snug up those stitches and pull our needle through. Now the reason that I went ahead and did that one is because that got me halfway to this next leaf, which is what I was thinking, is let's cut the distance in between. So let's back stitch around this guy. And he'll get one big stitch down the middle. Oops. There it is. There goes my compressor, reminding me that I have things to do in there that I should be keeping an eye on, because I could stitch all day. Okay, and then one down the middle to hold that guy down. There we go. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit of leaves up here, a little bit of leaves up here. This right here and this one right here are flowers that are not quite opened. And so because it's a flower one, it will have some leaves on it. So let's go ahead and jump to right here. And we're going to do the same kind of leaves that we had over here. So we want the point to be away from the branch. And then come back to the branch. There we go. Tack it down. My tail is too long. That one stayed close together, so I'm going to do the next one on the outside of it. Usually I go the other way around. Usually I do my biggest one first, but because of how that one pulled when I was My tail wasn't there. I'm going to go ahead and do outside of it. And then we're going to do one about right here. And all of these have cotton on them, so none of them need the greenery on them, including these two short ones. I could add greenery here, but I think it will, let me think, will it interfere with the cotton? I think I'll come back and add it if I feel like it needs it later. Because without the cotton on there, I'm not sure I can tell. Okay, this last one I need to be a little bit shorter. A little bit smaller. And then we'll do that with just one stitch down the middle. And the same thing on this one. This is one of those little pistol stitch ones again. So we'll go ahead and pull the thread towards you, perpendicular over the top. 1, 2, 3. Hang on to those guys. Then go down out here, snug them up, and pull it through. And then there's a leaf on the other side. And we'll put a little berry at the very top. Okay, make sure you go down in the same hole you came out so that your leaf has a point. Okay, and then I feel like that'll be a flower, that'll be a flower. Cotton, 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 cotton. I'm wondering about a leaf coming out of this one, but I think I'm going to wait on that one also. I might add, it's this stem right here. Really, it's this, the stick part is for this flower, and so typically it would have leaves, but I don't want it to interfere with the cotton, and these tops up here are cotton. So we're going to call it good there with our greenery for this project. And I think before we go, because I'm enjoying it so much, and we're only at 40 minutes, let's see if I can find there's one. Just for fun, we're going to go ahead and add a few of those the red berries where they go. So let's do our burgundy or red thread. Okay. Let's start down here. Remember, 1, 2, 3, hang on to them, go down near where you came out, tighten them up, and pull through. Thread towards you, 1, 2, 3, hang on to them, down near where you came out, snug them up, and pull through. French knots done like this will always turn out lovely for you. Okay, there is a knot there. It's a knot in the brown, but it's in the way of coming up where I need to. There we go. Remember, the job of your middle finger on the left hand is to keep things out of the way. 1, 2, 3, hang on to them. Back down where you came out, and again, I'm using him to hold that knot out of the way so that I can then snug them up, pull it through. this one. One, two, three. Hang on to them. Get back down where you came out. Snug them up and pull it through. Ooh, we have our tail there. Made a knot. Okay, that's the ones on that side. Let's finish this side. All right, let's come up here. I'm going to, I don't think I have one there. Now I'm jumping around doing things I'm not supposed to be doing. We need our yellow flower center on that guy so that I can get these next parts correct. So I'm going to go ahead and give me that flower center and look around here for, this is not a bullion knot needle, but it is a Milner's needle, and that will make it easier to do a French knot with this size 5. Okay, we're going to come up in the center of our flower. I'm doing colonial. Let's do French. 1, 2, 3. Hang on to those guys. Go back down where you came out. There we go. That gives us our French knot center. Let's tie that off. We'll come back later and do more yellow, but I just need, in order to do these flowers in the burgundy, I think that I can do a better job of staying centered if I can get my French knot in the center of the flower. There we go. Come out in the center. 1, 2, 3. Hang on. Go back down where you came out. Snug them up and pull through. All right. This one is going to be a little bit of an adventure in that if we hate it, we'll try again. Okay, I want to do the detached chain stitch petals on this, but I don't want to then do something around the outside, but I might need to. So let's see how that looks. If we do a detached chain stitch almost to the edge, almost to the edge, can I get it to cover it nicely enough I don't have to mess with, well, maybe, maybe not. Let's see. Okay, that's what I'm looking for, is that petal on the inside. So it starts near the center and it goes almost out to the tip. Got to be really close to the tip here in order for it to feel like it's going to fill that space. The verdict is still out on this, whether I want to add another row of thread to, okay, see how it brought up some fuzzies? I hate it when it does that. And when you get to the back, knowing what to pull on to get rid of that fuzzy is sometimes complicated. And so sometimes when I do that, I will use my fuzzy fix tool, easy fix tool. I don't have one with me right now, but I will have to show you that. An easy fix tool just takes the fuzz back to the back without you having to worry about pulling on threads, because if you pull on the wrong thread, you can mess things up. Okay, and this guy over here. Okay, I can tell you already, I'm not loving how not full it is with just these little detached chain stitches here, which means that I'm probably going to add something. I don't know, they show up nicely, and you do have the wool in place to give you the color that you need for the color balance for the project. So probably anything else we add would be extra, not necessary, but okay, keep it open. There we go. Okay, go all the way out. I'm going to tie this one off. In the back, and before, rather than going to the next stitch, and then I can decide if that's going to be enough of what I'm looking for or if I'm going to need more. Okay. So if I were going to add more, what would I do? Well, those are single detached chain stitches, so I could add another chain stitch on the inside of each one of them. Let's try that. I also could do fly stitches around the outside. My concern is I don't want to turn the whole thing into a circle or a blob. I like the distinction of the petals, and I know that if I add the fly stitch on the outside, it makes it more round. I'll lose the distinction of the petals. Okay, let's try that. Try just one of them and see what we think. Okay, I like that. I have my 40th year class reunion is today. I graduated from high school 40 years ago today, on the dot. And I don't know if I'm looking forward to it or not. There's a piece of me that would just like to stitch instead. I'm like, if I'm going to take time off of work, can I just sit and stitch instead? But I'm hoping to see a couple of friends that I have not. It's been a long time since I've touched base with them. Neither of them, there are people who are close by. I still live. My son, I've had 4 of my kids graduate from the same high school I did, so we've been close by. One of the activities for this afternoon is to tour the high school and see the changes. And as my husband and I were talking about it, I was like, well, you know, we had a kid graduate from there in 2005, 2007, 2013, 2015. Also, it's the high school that my dad taught at, so I've actually had a lot of interaction with the high school since I was 7 years old. That's when he first started teaching there. So I'm like, I don't think I need a tour. I was just there for a banquet earlier this week. I'm pretty sure I know where to find things and know what's changed. So probably won't do that part, but I am hoping to get to see those friends. The last time I saw them, I was very pregnant with my son. I remember saying to them something about, I'm nervous about the next challenges that are coming my way because it finally feels like we got over the last round of challenges. And he was born, I went to lunch with them on July 2nd, and around here the fireworks are on July 3rd. On the way home from the fireworks, I never did go home. I went straight to the hospital after the fireworks, and then he was born via C-section the next day. The doctor, they checked things out and said, oh, the cord is wrapped around his neck multiple times, so we want you to hold very still until the doctor comes and does a C-section. And I'd had 3 previous C-sections, so and the doctor had, because it was July 4th, the doctor had promised his daughter that he would take her hiking that morning. So first they went on a hike, and then he came and delivered the baby. Anyway, That's what I remember, is that conversation with them, and that's the last time that the three of us have been together. We obviously were friends in high school, and then we lived together our first year of college. And we send, pictures and things. It's not that I don't have any contact with them. They're not super active on social media as far as sharing things that are going on with their families. So I would love to get to sit down and visit with them tonight. We'll have to see how that goes. So yeah, I get to dye sunny skies, because I'm still working on that project, and go to a class reunion today. There we go. Okay, I'm really liking the double detached chain stitch on these. I think now that I can see one done and one not done, I like how it fills it out more. So that's a great solution that doesn't have us filling in around the outside of the wool. Now normally my policy is every wool piece needs an edge on it, a thread edge put on it, but I don't want to overfill that. And I'll probably do the same thing on this one. We'll have to see if it needs doubles or not. So that's enough stitches on it to hold it down, to not have to worry about that. Okay. So there's not a whole lot of burgundy on this. There's just these two flowers and then a few berries. There's a berry on the top of this one, and there's berries down here on the bottom. Okay, last. This needle is not one I would work with on purpose again. It's a big fat Milner's needle. It's fatter than I need for this thread. Oh no, this isn't. This is the small one. This is a Milner. This is this is the Milner's needle. It's giving me fits. It needs some wax, or just to be brushed up smoother. It's squeaky as it tries to go through. Can you hear it? My social media advisor says that I need more stitching where we can hear the thread being pulled through. I don't know if wool is so soft that I don't know if it makes a noise pulling it through. It's not like pulling through a taut cotton in a hoop. So imagine it. Here it goes. Okay, those guys crossed over each other. There we go. Lay it back down. I think we need to, yeah, we're down to less than 2 inches. I guess it's time to tie off again. What do we have left here? We have 4 more, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 berries. So let's, oops, wrong end. That's funny. The wrong end is looser. That should give us plenty. Just look at this come into life. That's one of my favorite parts, is watching the whole thing come to life. Can't wait until we can add some of the finish on the pumpkin, because I really think that will also help it come to life. Because what looks alive right now to me is this section. All right, we're going to come down here and do some French knots first, because I'm tired of fighting. Maybe this won't squawk anymore. 1, 2, 3, hang on to them. Go down right near where you came out. Tug your threads and pull through. Number 2. 1, 2, 3, grab a hold of them, go back down, snug them up, and pull through. Okay. Pull it towards you, wrap it around. 1, 2, 3, hang on to them. Take it back down. Oops, I'm getting the knot. That fussy little knot on the back side. Is it the brown one again? Can't tell. Down where you came out. Snug it up. Pull it through. And we have this one left right here. Pull the thread towards you. 1, 2, 3. Grab a hold of it. Take it down where you came out. Snug it up. And pull it through. Okay, that gives us our berries down here on the bottom. Let's go up and do the last berry up there. And then we'll finish out that flower. And we should probably call it a day. So this one just has a berry on the tip of it. 1, 2, 3. Down where you came out, holding the knot out of the way. Snug it up. And pull it through. That's not very far to here. Yep, but we'd have to go down further. We'll cut it off and start again. There's the back side. I am not one of those people who says the back side has to look perfect, but I do try to keep it a little bit clean. I'm not framing the back side. I'm displaying the front side, so if the back side wants to have cheats in it, go for it. Okay, let's go right here. Okay, next one. Next one. All right, this last one, they're pretty close together, so I'm going to try one outside of it instead of inside of it. The trick is going to be actually the tip out here, trying to get outside that tip because it's a long ways out. Oh, perfect. That will work. We must be going through a knot. Is there a spot to go through that is not a knot? Nope, just threads. Okay. Get our tail through, make sure that looks like it's supposed to look. And there we go. We will see you in the next stitch with me. Thank you for joining me today.